Disney has found the money to pay CEO Bob Iger $27 million and to gift the former CEO, just as a gift, who was fired in November, a $20 million severance package. For this Disney story, I want to make sure that I plug this. I'm pulling all of my information on this Disney story, minus my comments and analysis, from McKenna Schuler, friend of the show, even though we've never had her on. We definitely should. I talked to her on a few occasions, spent some time with her at Labor Notes in Chicago last summer. She is a staff writer for the Orlando Weekly, so definitely check out her article about the contract negotiations. It's titled, Disney World Workers Overwhelmingly Stand Together, Vote No on Company's Offer, Planning to Fight for Better Pay. Check that out. It's at the Orlando Weekly. Great reporter, committed to, representing things accurately and from the perspective of working people. But the status is that they've been negotiating, the unions, the 6 unions representing Disney World workers, 42,000 Disney World workers, have been negotiating for several months, and the last best and final from Disney World is only $1 an hour raise for these workers. And so the workers are coming back and saying, that's not enough as we're, fighting to survive in a cost of living crisis. A lot of us are making not very much above the state's minimum wage, and we're, working fairly long hours. And so, they said no. They voted, the unions sent it to the members for a vote with a recommendation that they vote it down, and vote it down they did. 96% of the workers who voted no. So that is a huge rebuke to Disney. And it's funny that one of the things that they're asking for is, I think, a $3 an hour raise, which is certainly doable for a corporation as profitable as Disney. But some of the workers were actually in this contract offered an immediate $3 an hour raise. Such as, like, I think some of the custodial workers were offered that raise, but even they've got pictures of these people who are in, these units that would get that $3 an hour raise, that, have pictures of them saying that, or videos saying that, I'm voting no because everybody deserves this raise, which is a very, very, very cool thing to see. The $3 an hour raise would bring the starting wage at Disney up to $18 an hour from $15 an hour, with additional raises to come over the course of the contract. And workers say that that's the least that they can do. Unite Here Local 737, which is one of the unions representing Disney workers, put out a report last year saying that out of 2,415 tourism workers surveyed, including Disney workers, 69% of them said that they hadn't had money to pay rent or mortgage costs over the last year. 26% say they had to move as a result of rent or mortgage increases, and 45% reported skipping meals to cut costs. Just for reference, she includes in this article that a living hourly wage for 2 working adults with 1 child in Orange County is $32.51 an hour, according to the MIT's living wage calculator, or $18.85 for a single working adult with no children. So it would take $18 an hour to have a sustainable living wage for a single working adult with no children, which is basically like the least expensive household you could possibly have, right? And the wages that these unions are asking for is still ultimately, the starting wage would ultimately be a little bit below that living wage that the MIT calculator puts out. So
it is,
totally a reasonable request.
Absolutely.
From unions.
And reminiscent of what we just heard from Chris Townsend about, workers who are in an area where they can hardly afford to live, right? I mean, and that's a trend that we're seeing across the country. We're seeing it right here in Huntsville, Alabama, where the folks who are doing the work for the community don't necessarily make enough to even live in that community anymore, and they're being pushed out of their own homes.
McKenna Schuler, the reporter for the Orlando Weekly, who wrote this report, points out that, while all of this is happening, like on the worker side, this is what they're going through. People are having to skip meals. People are asking for less than a living wage for a starting wage. Disney Parks Division, just the Parks Division, this is not, their media empire. Disney Parks reported $28 billion in revenue last year and an operating profit, which let's remember, profit is like revenue minus expenses, of $12 billion. $12 billion. Disney has found the money to pay CEO Bob Iger $27 million and to gift the former CEO, just as a gift, who was fired in November, a $20 million severance package.
Ooh-wee. $20 million
could you imagine,
severance? Oh my God.
Could you imagine getting like a $10,000 severance package?
Yeah, any severance package. Any severance package is a win for most workers, but $20 million, and they are lowballing these workers over a $3 an hour raise.
Here's McKenna is just so great. We've got it. I thought about asking her to come on the show to talk about this, but I was like, we got too many guests on the show already. We got too much to talk about. We're going to have to do it quick. But she's great. But she points out that during the 2020 election cycle, the woke corporation also found the money to give the re-election campaign of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis $50,000 in March of 2021 and another $50,000 2 years before that. The vote came days after food service workers, and we mentioned this in last week in Southern Labor. This vote came just days after food service workers at the Orange County Convention Center won a new contract delivering on the $18 an hour minimum wage that these unions are fighting for, up from a $13 an hour minimum wage, which is like a huge increase, and a $3 pay raise for every worker covered by the contract. So very, very cool stuff. It also comes the same day multiple media outlets confirmed that Florida lawmakers will hold a special legislative session Monday to discuss a state takeover of Disney World's Reedy Creek Improvement District, among other issues. So that's, a fascinating little wrinkle. I wonder what the deal is there. But maybe we will get McKenna Schuler on at some point to talk about this as this plays out.
Yeah, and I'd absolutely love to know what the unions are thinking about this potential takeover and how it may affect their members. Hopefully the fact that 96% voted down this crappy deal, I hope is a good sign that there's a pretty well organized membership down there that's ready to take on whatever's coming next.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project. And you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.